Good day, students. Okay, so you are registered for this subject called Introduction to Information Systems, NCV level 2 subject. And today we need to start now with this subject, and we are going to be starting with topic 1. And the heading for this topic is Information Processing in the Business Organization. Our first module of this particular topic is a typical organizational environment. That's the heading for this topic, and that is in the prescribed textbook on page 1. Okay, you will see each time we start a new module, we are going to look at the learning outcomes for that particular module, and in this case, our outcomes or learning outcomes are as follows. Number 1, we need to define the term organization. And number 2, we need to identify the interrelated elements that make up an organization. So let's start. Our introduction. An organization consists of various departments. Then each department works in an organized way so that the company's goals may be achieved. So please take note that any company consists of many different departments, and you will see what those departments are as we continue with the work. So don't be stressed about that at this stage. Just take note that there are many various departments in any organization. If you are asked in the test or exam for a definition of what an organization is, then I've created this definition for you. I've included it in this presentation, so please give this definition if you are asked in a test or exam. So the definition of an organization is that an organization is a group of people who work together in an organized way for a shared purpose or to achieve a common goal. Next, we need to look at the interrelated elements that make up any organization. Okay, and the first element that we're looking at is what's called the core or the line function. Now, any company has a specific purpose for which it exists. Okay, now that specific purpose, guys, we refer to it as what's called the line function or the core function, and sometimes people just say that it's the core business of that particular company. If I can give you an example, you are now a registered student at Mateo TVET College, and we can look at what the core function of Mateo College is. Okay, so look at that example on the screen. The core business of Mateo TVET College, and the reason why it exists, is to provide education to students and prepare them for tertiary studies. That's now, for example, if you want to go to university or CUT, then the college will prepare you for that, or the college prepares students to go into the workplace to start working. Now, a definition for the core function or line function is on your screen there. Okay, the line or core function is the function in an organization that is directly responsible for carrying out the core business of the company. I'm sure that is clear enough. So please make sure that you can memorize this definition and give it as an answer if they ask it in a test or exam. The department that is responsible for carrying out the core or line function, we call that particular department the line department. So please take note of that. Okay, the second element we're looking at, the support function or the staff function. So take note first of all that we can either talk about the support function or we can also talk about the staff function. It's the same thing. A definition for the staff function or support function is as follows. The staff function is a function that provides support for the line function so that the line function can carry out its core activities. Okay, so the staff function is basically there to support whatever the core business of the company is. So it has a supporting role. Some examples of support functions are as follows. The first one we're looking at is the administrative department. Okay, what do? They handle the everyday paperwork and other different kinds of administrative tasks within the company. Okay, a typical example, if we can once again look at Mateo College. Okay, so within Mateo College, the administrative support staff will keep records of students in terms of their registration forms, okay, as well as on the Caltech student system, where we store all student information, students that are registered with the college. The admin people or admin staff will also manage that system to keep track of all the information of the registered students of Moteo TVET College. So that is one typical example I can give you in terms of administrative department within Moteo TVET College. Then we also have something like a supporting function like marketing or advertising. That particular department, what they do is they have to advertise products and services. In other words, they have to make the public, the general public, aware of products and services offered by a particular company. Why? In order to attract those prospective clients or customers to come to the company to make use of the products and the services or to buy it. Our next example is called the purchasing department. Now, what does the purchasing department do? How does it support the core or line function? Okay, the purchasing department has to purchase the correct quality and quantity of materials that is needed for producing products to be sold to customers. For example, if a company produces cars or manufactures cars that they sell, in other words, motor vehicles, then the purchasing department must make sure that they order the correct quality of materials as well as enough materials, the quantity of raw materials that's needed to produce the motor vehicles that will be sold by that particular company. Human resources or HR department, we can also speak about the personnel department. What do? They recruit staff according to set criteria. They train or develop the employees, and other employee related tasks such as keeping track of staff sick leave and general leave and those kinds of things. Basically anything that has to do with the employees, the staff of a company, all of their affairs and the issues that they have, the HR department normally deals with that. Public Relations Department or PR department, what does it do? It handles interaction with the public in order to create a positive image of the company. In other words, they will represent the company when it comes to interacting with the general public outside of the company. The accounting or financing department, what do? They keep track of the financial records and control the company's finances. In other words, they do the bookkeeping or the accounting to ensure that the company has a favorable cash flow. In other words, that there's a positive cash flow, there's more money coming into the company than going out. Okay, and that will ensure that the company can continue to exist. Then the IT support department, as the name suggests, this particular department has a supporting role or function that it performs in terms of the IT, the information technology infrastructure of the company. So if you look at the explanation there, they ensure that the information system of the company functions effectively and efficiently by providing users, that's now the computer users or the IT users, with technical support and maintenance of the company's information technology system. Okay, now all of these departments we've spoken about, that we've mentioned, we're talking about the purchasing, the HR, the PR department, accounting or financing department, the IT department, and the other ones we've spoken about. Each one of these particular departments have a manager who is in charge of that particular department. Okay, such as the finance manager is in charge of the finance department, the sales manager in charge of the sales department, and so forth. Okay, our next element is called the organizational structure. An organizational structure provides a way of determining the lines of authority and communication within the company. Okay, if I can give you an example, an employee working in the production department might report to his or her direct supervisor, okay, directly. Now we're talking about a normal employee that is not a manager or not employed in a managerial position. Okay, that particular employee can report or speak to and communicate directly with his direct supervisor. Or it can even be the production manager that employee can communicate with directly if that production manager is his immediate supervisor. But that same employee, that non-managerial employee, may not communicate directly with the CEO or the Chief Executive Officer of the company. And that's how the lines of authority actually work, or lines of communication within a company. So on your screen there, I've got what's called an organizational structure. And if you read there with me in that table, so in other words, we can say that an organizational structure is a hierarchical structure of nature and shows employees who they report to, as can be seen in the figure below. Okay, so in other words, if you look at that structure, it's exactly what we've explained in that example. You've got a salesperson, for example, on the left bottom corner there. That salesperson has a direct supervisor, which is the marketing manager, for example. Now he reports to and he can communicate directly with that marketing manager. But that salesperson cannot communicate directly with the CEO, who is at the top of the structure in terms of the lines of communication. So I'm quite sure that you guys get the picture now of how an organizational structure works and how it shows everybody in the company who they must report to and who their direct supervisor is. So please take note that an organizational structure, there's a specific name or term that we use for that organizational structure, and it's called an organogram. So as we have already mentioned earlier, each department in the organizational structure has a manager who is responsible for making sure that everything runs smoothly in his or her particular department. Remember, we spoke about the HR manager, the PR manager, the sales manager. So each one of those managers must make sure that their department functions efficiently and effectively. Now, managers who are responsible for the company's line function or the core function, we call them or refer to them as the line managers. Okay, so please remember, these are the managers that is in control and managing the core business of the company. And one example I can give you is the production manager of a company, who is in charge of the manufacturing of the motor vehicles that will be sold to customers. Also, the managers who provide a support function are called the support or staff managers. Okay, an example of that is, for example, the finance manager, who needs to make sure that there's, like we said, a favorable cash flow in the company, that there's enough money to buy raw materials to produce those motor vehicles, etc., etc. More money coming into the company than going out. We've spoken about those things earlier. The HR manager that needs to make sure that the correct people are employed in the company to perform all the duties and tasks that must be performed in order for the company to reach its goals. The sales manager, and we can go on and on and on. Okay, now let's look at number 3. Some management styles. Okay, since a manager is a leader, he can decide to manage by using any of the following leadership styles. The first one we're looking at is called an autocratic leadership style. So in this kind of leadership style, you can basically say the manager is the boss and he calls the shots. So that's what you need to remember. This kind of a leadership style, this kind of leader does not really listen to any other people's opinions. He doesn't consider other people's input. He relies more or less on himself in order to make decisions for the company and to give direction to the company, to give instructions to all the other people that report ultimately to this particular autocratic leader. So please remember that this kind of a manager has full control. He calls all the shots. The next one is a democratic type of a leadership style. In this case, this type of a manager likes to get input from other people, other managers. He consults with them, and then he, based on their input and their opinions and advice, he then makes decisions. The next type of leadership style is called laissez-faire. I know it's a strange spelling, I think it's French. But in this kind of a leadership style, guys, basically what it means is everything goes and anything goes. Everyone within the company just do as they please. And as you can think, there's many situations in many companies where this kind of a leadership style is not ideal, because they need to be structured. They need to give or people need to be given direction in what to do and instructions on what to do in order for the company to reach its goals. Okay guys, that was it for this particular lesson. You are more than welcome to watch this presentation as many times as you want or as many times as you need in order to be confident that you understand the work and that you will be able to give the correct answers in a test or exam. And we will see each other in the next lesson.